Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as ravenquest. And in today's video, I wanted to walk through a easy auto attack build for ravenquest that is really perfect for beginners and experts, really, for starting the global launch off with a very strong character build. One of the challenges that I've had with ravenquest and preparing for the global launch is really trying to lock down and define how I want to start the game, which archetypes I want to focus on, and how I want to level from the very beginning so I don't have to redo stuff in the future. And what we're going to walk through today is the Shadestriker build, talking about its strengths, what it consists of. And if you want to stick around to the end of the video, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some variations on the Shadestriker that are different flavors, slightly different archetypes that might be a little bit more preferential for you to look at as well. And I'm going to give a shout out here to Cyborg TV. Cyborg TV walked through on one of his recent Twitch streams, basically breaking down the Shadestriker build very, very well, talking about why it's so powerful, basically the skills and the passives to get in the order to get them in. And I'm basically going to clip that part from his Twitch stream here to basically walk through it instead of me recreating it, because it's very insightful. So shout out to Cyborg TV. I'm going to leave a link to his Twitch channel in the video description below so you can take a look at that. And also just be aware there is some profanity here in Cyborg's commentary. So if you have virgin ears or you have children nearby, well, you might want to prepare for some profanity-laced commentary. But with that being said, before we hop into the build specifics, you can see here on the graphic here, my ravenquest referral link. It's going to be posted in the video description as well. And you can, if you haven't joined ravenquest, you can get ready for global launch and start to play using that referral link. It's going to give you $25 in free raven packs, and it's going to get you started in the game with a big boost. So go ahead and check that out. And one other link I will leave you in the video description below is for the ravenquest wiki here, which talks about all these different class builds here, such as the Shadestriker, what the archetypes consists of, and it gives you a character builder as well, which we'll walk through. So let's hop into Cyborg TV's breakdown of the Shadestriker and stick around until the end of the video, and we'll go through some alternative options as well.
All right, cool, dude. Let me kind of run through like this build real quick, and how I build it for you. Obviously, you might not have as many points as me because I know that you just kind of started that character and you're still dipping your toes in the water. But I can kind of show you like in order what I would take from level 1 essentially, right? So what I'm doing, most of your points are going to go into warfare early, brother. This is like your this is literally the the whole build uses this skill only. That's like all you have to do, right? So this thing really leans into auto attacks, and I'll kind of explain the mechanics around it. So early on, I would take this, I would take Shield Break, and then I would immediately take Bloodbath, right? That's like 1, 2, this would be level, what is this, 6 points, so you're like fucking level, like this is like nothing, right? This is super early. And then I go into Feasting Strike. I'm going to take Bloodseeker so that you're... I'm going to kind of explain here, and so I'm going to go over the different things. I like to take Bull Rush. Not only is it a great skill, but it also unlocks the ability to take another passive, right? Let's talk about the Warfare Tree. This right here is kind of your basic, right, super early level. This is really all you need. These are the only skills that you really need to use with this fucking build. It's super brain dead. Brutal Strike is your spammable. You're just going to sit here and fucking attack this, and then you want to try to get this card. This card is the one that increases the healing of Brutal Strike by 10% of health with below 50%, increases it by 25. Obviously, a higher level of this card, the better, right? As you can tell, every third strike heals you right now for 91 health. That's pretty good early on. It would be much higher if I had a better card. Well, actually, I don't even think it shows on the tooltip. But either way, I like Shield Break. with this card, because what it does is for the duration, your basic attacks deal more damage, essentially, right? And also just the ability of Shield Break just shreds the target's armor, which is always good. Feasting Strike is like one of the best abilities in the fucking game in Warfare, because so this is going to change. So basically it does an attack, right, and it's going to heal you. I like this card for this early. I like this card. Feasting Strike doesn't deal damage but increases the feeling effectiveness. It's a huge heal. Every time I'm hitting with it, I'm getting healed for like 800. Later on, when I have more damage, this card is going to be really good with the auto attack stuff, but I think early on the burst heal is a little better. These are both really good. If you get either of them, use them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was gonna say, if you get any cards,
yeah, no matter
for
what,
your build, then
it.
yeah, we can fucking talk about it.
Yeah, no matter what, use one of the cards, especially for Feasting Strike. Bull Rush is great. If you get a card for it, just use whatever card you get. I like the stun. The stun is super good, right? So that's kind of your shit. The most. Hey, dude, thanks for the follow. Paid to play, appreciate you, man.
What fun.
Now, I want to talk about passives a little bit. One of the big things that this build does is every time you're attacking something, this is the reason you want to use a light blade specifically. Thanks for the follow, Tails. One of the reasons you want to use a light blade specifically is because a light blade attacks faster than any other two-handed weapon. So a light blade is a two-handed weapon, but it attacks as fast as a one-handed weapon. So you get stacks really, really fast with this. And as you see, melee basic attacks grant 5 times the amount of stacks, right? And then fucking 5, so up to 100 times. So you're increasing your damage by 100% pretty quickly with this, right? Just your auto attacks, just the auto attacks you're doing, and it's going really fast. All of those auto attacks, whenever you see a tools tip says basic attack, it means auto attack. Those two words are interchangeable.
That's a piña.
20% of the damage dealt by melee is healing back to you, so you have a lot of sustain. This ability is great. If you go under, it's going to give you basically a bunch of healing back. It's going to increase your attack power and critical chance, and you're going to get a big heal while this is active for those 10 seconds. And also, if you'll notice, Brutal Strike lowers the cooldown, so you have it up more often. Really good, right? So that's kind of what you take in Warfare. All you're doing is fucking holding down Brutal Strike, debuffing the mob with Shield Break, and Feasting Strike when you need it for health. You don't even have to use Bull Rush, but it's nice to like interrupt an ability that a mob is using, right? Because you'll stun it. Then what I do in archery is I don't really care what abilities you take in archery, just take the first 3. Just take 3 abilities. I don't care what the fuck you take, it doesn't matter. They're fine. This is probably better to take than this, but I kind of like this for PvP. These 2 passives are why you're taking archery. This one, every time you deal a basic attack, you have a 20% chance to perform an extra one. It's like if you're familiar with WoW, it's kind of like a Wind Fury proc if you ever played World of Warcraft. This can proc off of itself as well, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, you can like, if it starts procking a lot, you're like, your auto attacks start attacking super fast. This ability is super great every time you deal damage because you're attacking quickly, you're shredding the target's armor. This is like the core, man. Shadow is going to add some flair, but you could replace this with fucking anything. I don't care. You could play this build as a fighter. You could play this build with, which would be protection. You can play it even as the Soul Blade as you're considering doing, right? I think the Shadow version is really good, and I'll show you. And personally, because I like the... I'm going to take Shadow Kick, which is an interrupt. I like it. I really like Crippling Dagger for other reasons, but the main reason I'm taking Shadow is this right here. When dual wielding or using a light blade, you get 20% attack speed. Combined with everything else we've kind of talked about, that's pretty fucking good, right? And then I also like to take the extra crit here. This right here is pretty good early on build. Right? This is, you know, but I would take it in the order that I just showed you, right? And just fill in what you can as you level, right? Fill out the warfare shit first, then the archery, then the shadow. Obviously, with spiritual, you can then fill out spiritual. With spiritual, it's pretty straightforward. I don't need to build it. You basically just want to take Wind Strike Spirit, which is like the third one down. You want to get to Wind Strike Spirit, and then I would take the cost of restoration and the cooldown reduction by 10%. Those are the 2 best passives for a might build for this, in my opinion. This one would be the one I took first. It's super good. And yeah, that's really it, dude. And the whole playstyle, man, like I don't even need most of these buttons. Like, I like having Crippling Dagger up here and Shadow Kick, but I don't really use them that often. I don't even need Concussive Shot or Wind Arrow. I can play this build like this with motherfucking 6 buttons. I can just play the whole game like this. I don't need anything. Is this going to be great in PvP without extra buttons? Of course not. I don't have a lot of utility. But in terms of PvE, just killing mobs, fuck, dude, I don't need shit. At this point, I'm just going to upgrade Feasting Strike so I have it more often, because it lowers the cooldown, right? Once you upgrade this fully, it gets down to a 12% 12 seconds. So every 12 seconds, I have a heal for 800 or 1,000 or whatever. The more weapon power you have, the higher the heal it is. Cool. It's super chill to play. I really, really enjoy it because I'm fucking old and my left hand doesn't. I'm not good at playing piano anymore. I ain't good at playing piano. I just want to fucking, I just want to walk at people and auto attack them to death because I think that shit's funny. But yeah, that's kind of how I build Shadestriker. That's how I've done in. This is the exact build I've been using for the last. This is day 5. Obviously today I'm kind of chilling. I'm not even grinding hard. I grinded hard the last 4 days. I've made it to level 40 in 4 days of playing this server, right? From level 1. I created this character 4 days ago, and I single targeted my way up. I have not done a single AoE pull this entire time. AoE is probably faster, but dude, this thing fucking shreds mobs. It's so fast. You want to target like really tanky mobs. The tankier the mob, the better for single target. Oh, one last thing for stats. Where you're allocating your stats, dude, it's really, really simple. You hold shift and you put every single fucking point you have into might and you're good. Super chill. Gear recommendations, I recommend full cloth and a light blade. Obviously light blade, we kind of covered that earlier. The cloth is because if you look at the bonuses to cloth at the very bottom there, you get 10% attack speed and global cooldown, which are really important for this build. The casting time, we don't really have a lot of cast, so it's not good for us. It's not really relevant to us. But spell defense is also is just a great ability as well. Just great to have more of that because you already have a lot of weapon defense by the nature of pushing might, because might gives you a lot of weapon defense. So you're kind of rounding out the build with some more spell defense with that. But also, really, where you're taking this for is the attack speed and the global cooldown reduction. Full cloth is BIS probably for every build in the fucking game. Fuck plate, fuck leather. Don't ever consider leather. Don't ever put it on. Rings, whatever you can get your hands on, bro. Doesn't matter. Just anything that has might, attack, whatever the fuck. This is just shitty rings that are like early game shit. It doesn't matter. Most importantly, get your hands on a full set of cloth and a light blade and you're good.
So that was a great breakdown of the Shadestriker auto attack build for ravenquest. I've played it in the stress test and I really enjoyed it. For single target PvE mode, it was super strong at the very early levels of the game, and it scaled quite well. It is dependent on having a light blade as you get higher levels, especially when you get into the shadow part of the build towards the end there. But definitely, you should look to craft that or have that crafted for you, or purchase a light blade at some point during the build. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about some alternate builds on the Shadestriker that you might want to consider as well as you prepare for global launch. The first build alternative here is the Soul Blade, and the Soul Blade consists of Warfare and Shadow, similar to the Shadestriker, but it adds the spiritual archetype instead of the archery archetype. And what the spiritual archetype is going to give you is the ability to do some heals. So give you some sustain in the PvP or kind of meta in the future. It's going to give you some additional upside and damage here. Things like Windstrike Spirit should give you some additional offensive boost for scale at later levels of the game. One other archetype to consider here is the Martial, which is basically the Soul Blade, but instead of going with Shadow, it goes with Archery. So you have Warfare, Archery, and Spiritual here. So it gives you the heal, it gives you the sustain, it gives you some of that offensive DPS at higher levels. But instead of going with Shadow with the Light Blade passive of 20% haste, it uses the Archery passives here of Blitz here, and gives you the Marked for Death defensive power stripping ability there as well. So whether you look at Martial, whether you look at Soul Blade, or whether you look at the Shadestriker, I really think that these builds are very easy to play with, meaning especially if you play on controller like I do or like I prefer to, you don't have to map a ton of extra keys and do a ton of combinations on your play build. It's really just spamming a few keys and just making it very simplified and easier to play, I think. So I'm all about easy play here. I want to level up quickly and be strong in the game, but I don't want to kind of have to do a 10 combo key in every battle. And this way I can play with a controller and play very simply. So what do you think? Is this something that would interest you at global launch? Have you seen other builds here on YouTube or in Discord that interest you and that you're preferring for global launch? Let me know in the comments below. And again, shout out to Cyborg TV for sharing his knowledge and his build here with us. And until next time, keep stacking those stats.